Have you ever created a story out of a circumstance that you went through? I remember, my friends, when I was pregnant with my second child, Jessica, and we were pastoring in Franklin, Indiana. We had a wonderful church, great people. In fact, it was one of the easiest churches ever to pastor because it just seemed like there was love and unity. Well, I came into the vestibule of the church, and there was a group of ladies. They were hovered together and they began to talk, and one sees me and goes, shh, shh, and they all hushed. You know what I did? I created a story in my mind. I said they are talking about me, or they're saying something they should not say because they hushed when they saw me. I created a story to the point that that story grew. My imagination went all over the place, and I'm thinking, ah, are we safe here? Do they now dislike us as pastors of the church? Why? Because I had a history of being hurt, yes, in the church. And so I created a story. Pastoring over the years and leading, you counsel people in your church. And I've gone through many times counseling couples for marriage. And one story comes to my mind, and it's about, and it's a true story, but I won't tell the names. And this was years ago. There was a couple that got married. She was an only child, and he came from a family of about 7 or 8 children. Well, to say the least, that kind of had them with a different perspective about things. One growing up as an only child, and the other one in a huge family. And so one day, her husband says, honey, what did you do with my washcloth? And she says, what do you mean, what did I do with your washcloths? The washcloths are in the same place. No, what did you do with my washcloth? And she says, you mean that old dirty one that was laying there on the side of the tub? And he said, it wasn't dirty. I washed it out to use it again. And she says, ooh. So he created this story in his mind because he grew up with a large family, and to save on the wash, the mama had taught them to wash their washcloth out, wring it out, put it to dry, and reuse it. Where she being an only child, that was not an issue, and every time she took a bath, she was taught to get a fresh washcloth. So he created a story in his mind, and the story began to grow. He created this story that his mama and his entire family, and he was looked at as dirty and nasty over that little situation. And he began to get a little bitter and begin to get defensive about his family over everything and nothing that was an issue. And that turned into a major problem in the marriage. And there was another story that really happened with another couple where there was a story that was made. The wife asked the husband, would you please stop throwing your clothes on the floor? Would you stop? Please quit just taking your socks off and throwing them across the room. Please stop that. And he straightened up for a few days, and then he reverted back to his old habits. Why? Because all of his life, that's what he had done, and it was a habit. But she created the story that he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about my needs. He doesn't care about what I want. He doesn't appreciate what I do around here because he goes behind me and messes it up. And she created a story. Now, before you take sides, that's not my issue that I'm trying to bring out. What I'm trying to relate to you is we all create stories due to circumstances. Things from our past feed into it. And sometimes we judge people based on a story we create. Somebody could cut you off on the highway, and you may create a story about that individual, and it could be they're rushing to the hospital because there's a loved one there in the ER. We don't know everything. That's why the Lord says, judge not that you be not judged. And also, the Apostle Paul says we're to cast down imaginations and everything that would exalt itself against the knowledge of Christ, bringing them to captivity. all these things, all these imaginations that would exalt itself. So I want to encourage you today, bring peace in your life. Quit creating stories when stuff happens. Quit creating stories so you feel rejected or you feel less than. Let me get back to that episode where I walked into the church and everybody hushed up when they saw me. And here I thought, I literally believed they were up to no good. I could just see ourselves getting a U-Haul, packing up all of our belongings, and having to move again. And what the conversation was about, they were planning a surprise baby shower for me. And I had created a whole different story, lost sleep over it. Oh, my friends, give it to God. Think on things that are pure, holy, trustworthy, and quit creating a story. Please, talking about creating a story, I want to know maybe a time that you have fallen into that same temptation. Would you leave it in a comment and tell me about it? Also, if you have not subscribed to this channel, would you please do so? Please hit that bell, hit the subscribe button, leave a like. You have no idea how much that would help us. And even if you could, share this channel with others. And I want you to have a Jesus-filled day.